Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Mr. Goldman with the Chapter 3 practice test. If you're liking this content, please make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Thank you. Also, I did use a lot of paper, formative, prints out on many pages. Please don't roast me in the comments for not being sustainable. Question 1, rewrite as an addition problem. This is nice. You don't even have to solve it. Don't change the first number. Change the subtraction to addition. And instead of subtracting -6, we're going to take the opposite. And it's -4 plus 6. Awesome. Question 2. 3 doesn't change. Change subtraction to addition. Change the -7 to +7. 3 plus 7. Cool.
Attention parents, the lost and found is out in the quad. If you guys are missing a sweatshirt, a water bottle, or any item, please check the lost and found.
Apologies for that announcement. The lost and found is now closed. This would be 9 plus -7, because instead of subtracting +7, I'm going to add -7. Standard 2, I can multiply and divide positive and negative numbers, including negative times a negative, -3 times -4 times -3. A negative times a negative is always positive, so our answer is 12. Number 5. Let's do the first. We'll group it like that. 6 times -2 is -12. -12 times -2 is +24. Right? The multiplication stays the same. All you're really doing is figuring out if it's positive or negative. And if there's an even number of negative signs, either 0, 2, or 4, they're all going to cancel each other out and will be positive. If there's an odd number of negatives, the answer will be negative. The nice thing is division rules are the same as multiplication. So I can just do this division. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 1 negative and 1 positive, my quotient is going to be negative. So it's -2. 10 divided by 5 is 2. A negative divided by a negative. 2 negatives cancel each other out, and we have a positive. +2. Standard 3, I can find the distance between 2 points using absolute value. Okay, write an expression using absolute value, then find the distance between the two numbers. You couldn't really tell. Your equation should look something like this, right? Obviously different numbers, but I'll explain this in a second. Our two numbers are -6 and 3 for number 8. All we're going to do is subtract these two numbers and put absolute value brackets around it. So the answer is the absolute value of -6 minus 3, right? Because my two numbers are -6 and 3. I'm just going to subtract them. Now, -6 minus 3, this is the absolute value of -9, and the absolute value of -9 is +9. Right? So my answer is going to be 9. Notice, if I switch this, and I did the second number, 3 minus -6, and I took the absolute value of that. Again, I just have 3 and -6. Doesn't matter the order if you're taking the absolute value, right? If we're finding distance, the order doesn't matter as long as you take the absolute value. Because this would be the absolute value of 3 plus 6, which is the absolute value of 9, which is also 9. Number 9. My numbers are -3 and 8. So my two equations would be -3 minus 8, or 8 minus -3. And we'll simplify both of those. This would be the absolute value of -11, which is +11. And here, this is the absolute value of 8 plus 3, which is the absolute value of 11, which is 11. So here's our two equations using absolute value to find the distance between 2 points. Standard 4, I can divide a fraction by a fraction. We're just going to use everybody's favorite keep, change, flip. 4/5 does not change. We change division to multiplication. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So that would be 3/2, and then multiply straight across. Here I can actually cross simplify, so I'm going to do that. 4/2, if I just had this as a fraction, this simplifies to 2/1. Since we're multiplying, I can do the same simplification diagonally. So 4 becomes 2, 2 becomes 1, and we have 6 fifths. You can write that as 1 1/5. You don't have to. If you just kept it as 4 fifths times 3 halves, and you multiplied straight across, and we got 12 tenths, this answer is correct, but I would prefer it in one of these two. Right, simplify, because that can be simplified. Number 11, we have common denominators. Remember, the common denominator method says if I have common denominators, I can just ignore those, and I have 4 divided by 8. So this equals 4 divided by 8, which is 1/2. If we do keep change flip, you'll see that these just cancel out, and we get 4/8 or 1/2. Perfect. Nine halves divided by 8 twelfths. Do not cross simplify here. We can't cross simplify if we're dividing, only multiplying. So this is 9 halves times 12 over 8. I could simplify 8 twelfths though, but I'll cross simplify now. 2 becomes 1, 12 becomes 6, and now I can continue to simplify because 6 and 8 can be simplified. 6 becomes 3, and 8 becomes 4. We have 27 fourths. Leave it just like that. You could also write this as a mixed number, that's fine. Let me just show this a different way. If I do divided by 8 twelfths, 8 twelfths is the same as 2/3. So this would be 9 halves divided by 2/3, which is the same as 9 halves times 3 halves, which is 27 fourths. Same answer, but maybe, you know, the earlier you simplify, the easier things are, right? So that's why it's called simplify. Haha. Standard 5. I can divide a decimal by a decimal, long division. All right. We can think about this in a few ways. First of all, if we're going to do long division, the first number goes in the box, right, in the house. 3, 5, 7, 5, divided by 0.25. Now, we looked at why this works using giant ones earlier, but we can just move this over twice. And I move this over twice, right? You move them the same distance. And why this works is because if I were to set up a fraction, right? All division problems can be written as fractions. If I multiply this by 100 over 100, I don't change the value, and I get 35.75 over 25, which is 35.75 divided by 25. Now, I could have multiplied by, what is that, 10,000 to totally get rid of the decimals, but as long as, you know, the number outside the house has no decimals, then we can solve it. So now I'm going to write 35.75 and 25 and just do the long division. Make sure you're being neat when you're doing this. 25 goes into 35 once. 1 times 25 is 25, remainder of 10. Bring down the 7. 25 goes into 107 4 times. That's 100, remainder of 7. Bring down the 5. 25 goes into 75 3 times. And there's no remainder. So 1.43. All right. 0.468 divided by 1.3. Again, 0.468 goes in the house, 1.3 outside the house. I'm going to make this 4.68 divided by 13. Decimal goes there. 13 does not go into 4, so we got 0. 13 goes into 46 3 times. 3 times 13 is 39. Remainder of 7. Bring down the 8, 78. 13 goes into 78 6 times with no remainder. So 0.36. You can check all these answers, right? If you do 0.36 times 1.3, I will get 0.468. Number 15. This one might be easy to look at. So as a giant 1, divided by 0.2. We're going to multiply this by, let's do 1,000 over 1,000. This will totally get rid of all the decimals. So 0.004 times 1,000, I'm going to move the decimal 3 spots. That's just 4. Divided by, I'm going to move this 3 spots also, because 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. So that would be 200. So 4 over 200. I can just simplify this. I know it says use long division. So I guess we'll use long division. 4 and some zeros. 200. 200 does not go into 4. Bring the decimal up. 200 does not go into 40. 200 goes into 400 twice. 0.02. There you go. Last standard, I can use the order of operations to simplify expressions. 2 plus 3 times 5. I'm going to do this as one term, and that's the first term. The terms are separated by addition, right? So I have 2 plus 15, go left to right, 17. Very common mistake to do 2 plus 3 first and then get 25. So make sure we're doing that. 17. 5 minus 3 plus 2. You might be tempted to do 3 plus 2 first. That's a trick. You have to go left to right. 5 minus 3 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 18. 10 divided by 5 times 3 minus 1. We're going to do the grouping first. So I have 10 divided by 5 times 2. Now, division and multiplication are the same level, so I have to go left to right. 10 divided by 5 is 2, times 2 is 4. A problem very similar to this goes viral every like 6 months on social media with old people like me arguing about how to do it. Last one with exponents. Ooh. Okay, we're going to do the grouping first, and then the exponent, and then the multiplication. So I have 5 minus 2 times 5 squared. So we can do 5 squared. So this is 5 minus 2 times 25, because 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. So now I have 5 minus 50, and that's negative 45. All right. Oh, yep, that's it. Good luck. If you have questions, ask me tomorrow. Good luck on your test.